impact our lives in all ways. I'm going to repeat that because of the recording. The Latino Coalition is aware that artificial intelligence is acquiring force and it will impact our lives in all ways. Jobs, programs, services will change drastically as artificial intelligence develops further. More than ever, we need to develop digital skills as artificial intelligence in our community to serve better our clients. On behalf of Latino Coalition and the board member, personal and its director, Edwin Arellano, we would like to thank you, our supporters and the keynote speakers. A special thank to Megan Mitchell, Ernesto Bejarano, Rihanna Spring, the keynote speakers this year. And let's just give a big shout out. So if you guys can, in the reactions part, put like a little clap or thumbs up, our big supporters to Marion County Public Health Department. Comcast, thumbs up, right? Firefly. Very good. Thank you for participating, everybody. Managed Health Services. Regions. Indianapolis Airport Authority. School of Social Work of IUPUI. Bookkeeping Plus. We deeply thank all of you for joining us to this great event. Yay. All right, so remember, make sure that you are muted, that the mics are turned off. It's good to be conscious, especially of those that will be speaking. And at the end of the forum, we will have a Q&A session. So as you're listening to each keynote speaker and you have a question, jot it down. Don't just listen because you'll forget it, because there's going to be good information that's going to continue processing throughout this time that we have together. So make sure that you write concise questions so the keynote speakers can answer with concise answers. Sounds good? All right, so everybody ready to begin? Put a thumbs up. Yay. Okay, so today we would like to thank Dr. Virginia Kane, Director and Chief Medical Officer of Marion County and Public Health Department, for supporting Latino Coalition. She is a great leader in our community, and she will do her welcome remarks virtually. Stay tuned, a video will come up.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Virginia Kane, Director and Chief Medical Officer for the Marion County Public Health Department. I am very pleased to welcome those of you who've been with us for a long time, as well as those who are new to one of the greatest events in digital technology. And this year, we're excited to learn about artificial intelligence and its impact on the social worker in this forum hosted by the Latino Coalition. Now, artificial intelligence is going to change our work, our communications, and our lives. And we have to learn everything about this new science that develops applications that can think like humans. And artificial intelligence seeks to do such things as recognize patterns, make decisions, and judge like humans. And so while it's exciting, but it can be challenging. So Alfredo Bejarano, author of the book Artificial Intelligence for the Social Worker and founder of the Social Work Artificial Intelligence Magic Tool, will give access to digital applications that can be used by advocates, counselors, caseworkers, case managers, therapists, psychologists, law enforcement officers, and other similar professionals to help assist their clients. Ms. Megan Mitchell, founder of Agents of Change Social Work Test Prep, will present the intersection of digital technology with social work practices. So we will be rewarded with fresh ideas and be given important digital tools to help victims in an effective way. And so the Marion County Public Health Department, we're proud to support this Latino Coalition initiative to help promote the developing digital technology skills in our community. So enjoy this amazing day in learning more about artificial intelligence to helping clients and survivors.
Thank you, Dr. Virginia Kane, for your supporting words. She has been an amazing supporter of Latino Coalition throughout the years. It was great when we were meeting in person because I can give her a hug, but shout out to her. And let's begin our conference. This is so exciting. Megan Mitchell is currently a child and adolescent therapist with the Sibley Group in Washington, D.C. She's working towards her play therapy credential. Megan is also the founder of Agents of Change Social Work Test Prep, a learning platform and community designed for social workers preparing for their licensing exams. She loves combining her passion for learning and sharing her knowledge with the social work community. Megan has a strong interest in tech and innovation, specifically exploring the intersection of technology with social work practices. She is also passionate about multicultural supervision and ethics, ensuring diverse voices are heard, understood, and supported in supervision and consultation. Lastly, Megan is currently a DSW student at SUNY Buffalo, which is SUNY. She is a first-generation college student, and she truly enjoys researching impactful and supportive programs for this population. It is with great pleasure I welcome our first keynote speaker, Ms. Megan Mitchell. Thank you. Everyone give a round of applause and welcome her. Feel free to do a little heart and send her some love.
Thank you, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay. I just want to say thank you for having me. I'm so excited that there is a whole forum dedicated to artificial intelligence. This is definitely a hot area right now, which you will learn a little bit about today, and something that has really, I would say in 2023 exploded. So this is like really new stuff. So I am going to kind of give like a broad overview of what AI is and how we can use it, or how we're already using it. So that's kind of a misconception, is people think, oh, this AI, I don't know about it, but we're using it every day in a lot of different capacities. So I'll talk about that. And then I'm going to wrap up with like ethics. So we have this stuff out here, this artificial intelligence, all this information, but how do we use it ethically? So we are not harming clients, we're supporting clients, and we're using it in ways that are most beneficial. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And please, 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 I'm so glad that we talked about the reactions, because I have some interactive parts throughout where I'm going to have you use some of the Zoom reactions to kind of gauge where we are with some AI stuff. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and let me go ahead and get presented for you all. Okay. So we're going to be talking broadly about AI, and kind of how I wanted to frame this is AI a distant future or a new reality? And I would say it's probably more so our new reality is how hold on one second. I don't know where there we go. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'm not going to rehash my bio, but just a little bit about myself so you can get to know me. I am calling today from Washington, D.C., but I'm originally a Midwesterner, which I know a lot of you are there in the Midwest. I'm originally from Michigan. So if I have any Michiganders in there, we are in good company. So let's go ahead. I know that our time is short, so I don't want to waste any time. So let's go ahead and jump in. This is just the broad overview. I'm going to talk about ChatGPT and AI. I know Ernesto's going to give an actual demo of that. So we want to make sure that we don't overlap. And then we are going to talk about ethical considerations, because that's a big gap, I would say right now, is how do we ethically use this technology? How can we effectively use it? And then I know the Q&A is going to be at the end, so write down your questions, because I'd love to be able to answer anything. And anything I can't answer, I will try to follow up with an answer and find for you, because a lot of this stuff, there's not answers yet. So now it's time for us to kind of get a pulse check. So in the chat or using your Zoom, how comfortable are you with technology? This does not even need to be AI. Thumbs up or a number 4 is I'm very comfortable. Hand raise or number 3 is I'm somewhat. 2 is I don't really know. And then a 1 is, or a thumbs down is I'm not comfortable yet. So where do we all kind of fall here? How comfortable are you with tech? I think after COVID, a lot of us had to become much more comfortable than we may have in the past. I just kind of want to get a sense, and I have a feeling it's going to be kind of a nice distribution of where we all fall. Let me get the chat open so I can see that. Okay, so I'm seeing most of us are pretty comfortable, right? We're most falling around 3s and 4s. So that is going to be good that you have a good tech base to start, because AI really does live in the tech realm. So my hope today is that you just take away 1 or 2 pieces of information that might be helpful to you in serving clients. That's all what we want to do, is we want to use AI as a tool to help us. So what is AI? I'm not going to give the details here, but AI is basically a computer science technology that mimics human intelligence. Keyword here is mimic. It's not a human, but it's programmed to kind of be like a human brain. So it's going to problem solve, it's going to use patterns, it's going to do a lot of things that are way above my head to give information and spit it out. Some things that already use AI are Netflix. I don't know if any of you, when you're watching, it says recommended for you. That is AI. ChatGPT, that's a huge one that's come on the scene in 2023. Voice assistants. So if you use Siri or Google Voice, those are AI powered. Self-driving cars or portions of, vehicles that are, cruise control, all those things, fraud prevention, and tons more. So we're going to get into that a little bit more in just a minute. So what we are all here as service providers, right? So what are some use cases that AI can be used for in human services? Communication. So that could be, I'm sure all of you have interacted somehow with a chat bot when it's like, put your question here and we'll be back to you. That's AI. So communication is one area that it could help in. Predictive. So it can help clients, if you feed it the right data, it could help you understand what clients fall into different categories, what clients are highest need. It's a great learning tool, right? So I think that it can be used all across the lifespan. I have kids as young as 12 that are now starting to use AI. Therapeutic support, I use AI a lot to help give me journal prompts or sand tray prompts or just general information if it's an area of need that I don't really know much about, but I can educate myself. And then emotional support. It has actually have use cases where it's used with our elderly clients or geriatric clients to interact and ask questions. And there have been studies that shows that if used correctly, it can decrease loneliness. So this is something that I think is really funny. This is what people think AI is, right? I think people think AI is robots going all around and having bionic arms and bionic brains, and they're just taking over the world. So this is generally what people think AI is. But here's what AI really is. So we use it a lot in our everyday life. So I am going to just ask you a few things, and in the chat, if this applies to you or using the reaction, go ahead and let me know if you have used these features before. How many of you have or have used an Alexa or a Google Home or some sort of device like that? I see the hands going up. Yep. that uses AI, right? It's using our voice, it's using our patterns. So that is how AI is already in our lives. How many of you have used some sort of translation service, such as Google Translate, or something where you type it in one language and it pops it out in a different language? That uses AI. It's got that brain in it to kind of help you with that feature. How many of you use Gmail and items automatically go to spam and you don't even put them there? And it can be a bad thing sometimes, right? It's like, I didn't mean that to go to spam. That is using AI because it sees, oh, they haven't opened this email in a long time. We're going to put it in our spam folder. That is using AI. And then how many of you have some sort of smartphone that it uses your face for facial recognition to get you into the phone? I mean, how many times a day do a lot of us use that? That's probably the most common one. So that is also using AI, right? It's using facial recognition. So the point of this is to just say AI is out there. It's being used in different and more creative ways. And I actually wanted to show you these two slides, this one here and this one here. These were actually created with AI. So there is an art AI app where you feed it a prompt, and this is what came out. So I did not find this. AI, it's pretty cool, made this image, and AI made this image. So really cool stuff. I am not an artist myself, so I really appreciate when there's these cool pieces of technology that can be used. So like I said, we use AI in every day. Our smartphones, every smartphone interacts with AI in some way. We use the voice assist. How many of you have used filters, or when you're taking a picture, that box goes around your face, right? That's using AI to enhance the quality of your pictures. When you're typing and it kind of guesses for you, that's using AI as well. If you are on social media, platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, they all use AI for various reasons, generally for targeted ads. So how many of you have feel like you've been thinking about something and then it comes up in an ad and you're like, how on earth is something listening to me? How did it know that I was interested in buying this? How many of you has that happened to? Where maybe you're like, I really wanted to get this new iPad, and then all of a sudden you're getting targeted for iPad everywhere. That's because AI actually uses your search history and different things so that you can get those ads. So it's getting really, really, really smart, and it's using our psychology to give these algorithms and spit that out. Online shopping also, so Netflix, like I said, Spotify, all these things that give you personalized recommendations, they also use AI, and they personalize it, right? So what they might recommend to me might be very different than what they recommend to you based on your search history and what you have been searching for. Google was kind of the first AI. It's just funny now to think like how often we rely on Google. That's huge. So that is using AI. And then, like we mentioned, the smart home devices. So if you have a Google Home or an Alexa or something that you use voice to do a command for you, there's now thermostats. A Nest is something. There's cameras, like outdoor cameras, Ring doorbells. All of that uses AI. So it's here, and we use it a lot in our everyday. How many of you had never thought about these different products that we use on an everyday basis as potentially using AI? I know for me, I had not considered that. It's here. And whether or not we like it, it's been here for a while, and we're engaging with it already. So let's talk about how people feel about AI. So there have been some studies that have been out, and there's more research developing as we go. But according to a poll, and people were asked, how do you feel about AI? 15% of Americans are more excited than concerned about the increasing use of AI. 38% are more concerned than excited, and like about half of the population's equally mixed, or like, I'm not sure, right? There's parts of it that I'm excited about, and then parts of it that are concerning to me. So just interesting to see where people fall. And this was done very recently, as you can see, in 2023. So this is fairly accurate data that we have. So now I want to get a pulse of where we all are. How do you feel about AI? Are you more excited than concerned? Are you more concerned than excited, or are you equal? You're somewhere like, I think it has its benefits, but there's also probably some concerns. Where does everyone fall on this? Go ahead in the chat, or let me know where you all fall. I am definitely the excited. Well, obviously, this is kind of my area of passion, but I'm definitely fall on the excited part. But even just go ahead and check into the chat. Like, we have people everywhere. Some are excited, some are concerned, and that's why we're here today, right? To learn about it. And I want you to leave today not thinking I must use AI, but what I really want us to get a sense of is, how is AI a part of our world, our society? Because the more you know about it, the more informed decisions you can make. So we're going to talk about like the pros and cons, because it's not always a good thing and it's not always a bad thing. It's really kind of more of a balance. So what are these ethical considerations? I will say this: we as human service providers, we work with humans, right? We need to take ethics into consideration, but oftentimes the people developing these AI softwares, they do not have a human service, a social work, a counseling background such as we have. So sometimes the tech is not ethical, right? Because they don't have the voices of those working in direct service to make the technology. So things to think about and to consider ethically are, is the tech fair? Is it transparent? Is it accountable? And does it reduce harm, right? So when using AI, it's all about respecting human rights and values first. Do not use any AI, any tech, if it's not helping you. If it's causing harm, it's a no-no, right? So these are just things to consider that we want to always be thinking about when we are engaging in tech. And I'm not going to go through all of these because I know we have a short time, but basically, AI is a brain. I'm going to put that in quotes. It's not a real brain, but it's a computer system. So things to consider is, it's fed data from the internet and from databases, from clouds. So if the data is racist or the data is disproportionate, that's going to pop out in these AI bots and these chats. So it's really, really important that we are fact checking that the data is accurate and it's not causing more harm. So that's just something to consider, right? What's out there is what it's fed in. It's not a human to kind of sift through that data. We're going to talk about some case considerations specifically for caseworkers, social workers, human service workers. Data privacy. How many of you are concerned about data privacy in this world that we live in now? Like, I feel like there's data hacks all the time. I am concerned about data privacy. How many of you worry about consent? Like, do our clients consent to using these different things? Me. And then there's also potential bias. So you should be raising your hands for all of these. I see people's hands going up. We're going to talk a little bit more about this. So data privacy, these are some case examples. Imagine that you work for an agency that's using AI to manage client records. The tool's going to have proper data protection. It's going to be HIPAA compliant. If not, that could cause so many problems for us and for our clients. So if you're using any sort of software, always check that it's HIPAA compliant. Always check that the information is sensitive is protected, right? I don't know about you. I feel like I'm constantly getting emails like, your information has been breached. It happens, right? So we just need to make sure that if we're selecting a tool, that it's going to be secure, and we are doing our best. We can't always help data hacks to manage client records in a way that is secure. Informed consent. We are not ever consenting to any or doing any services without consent from our clients. So imagine if you had a doctor that was just reading your case via AI bot. How would you feel about that? Go ahead in the chat. If your doctor was not actually reading your case file, but just put it through an AI bot and gave you recommendations? How would you feel? No, I see people saying like, absolutely not. Crazy no, right? We would want to be informed if that is happening. So if you are like using some sort of AI in some sort of direct service work, you need to make sure that you have consent and clients are aware, right? I would feel very distrustful of any system that is using AI and not informing me. So we always want to make sure that we're getting consent if we are using it. And then, like I mentioned, there's definitely bias. For example, if you are feeding it data and you say who would be eligible for a housing program, it might give you very disproportionate data that is showing that maybe certain groups are the ones that are prioritized, because we know that there's systems that are out there that are biased, that have racist roots. So just something to know, that what you ask the AI to give you back might have some implications, which is why it's important to read through it. How can this help you, right? This is why we're here. Just being here right now, that's going to help you. Knowing that what AI is, knowing that it's out there. I always say it's a little bit scary because it's new, but turning a blind eye to it does not help us, right? We need to be ahead of it. We want to be at those decision-making tables where we're like, let me tell you about AI and how this could be beneficial to my clients. So understanding and making those informed decisions is just a great first step. Career advancement. This is, if you are pretty tech savvy and you start to learn different AI tools, that could be a huge benefit to you in your career, right? Maybe you're going to a job interview and you say, you know, I have used AI, I've used ChatGPT, I've used different things for this case example. And that might be a benefit depending on what sector you're going in. And then ethical and social implications. I think this is where that psychoeducation piece comes in, right? We want to let our clients know, especially if you're working with like some clients that maybe are not having the strongest digital literacy skills, knowing that they don't want to put their private data out there into this AI bot, knowing that there's bias, knowing that it does have some limitations is really, really, really important. You can use it to help you solve complex skills. So I will do a very quick demo later if we have time about, I use it for grad school. There's something called Chat PDF, and I upload a very long document and I can ask it questions. Who were the researchers of this study? What was the main methods that they used? And it's not doing the work for me, but I'm interacting with it to make things more efficient for me. You can also use it in your daily life, right? It's already a part of our daily life. So when you get clients or you yourself are grappling with, ooh, I don't know about this AI thing, remember that little exercise we did at the beginning. It's used in our daily life. If you're using an iPhone, if you're using a smartphone, it's already there. And then also, really, really, really important, similar to Facebook, social media, TikTok, we need to know like what is fact and what is misguided fake news is what I would say, right? That's a huge concern right now. So we just need to inform ourselves so that we can inform our clients and we can make the best decisions for them and with them. So I really quick before I wrap up, just want to show you one example really quickly of me. I'll do that at the end, but I know that our time is quick here today. So I just wanted to let everyone sit with this for a little bit. We are the final decision makers. We are the humans. AI is not a human, and you cannot take the humanity out of making decisions, right? So here, AI should augment, not replace. It should be a tool. So I like this analogy, and hopefully this will be helpful to you all. AI is a tool. You are still the pilot of the plane. You don't want the AI to fly the plane, right? You want a human. Imagine if planes were self-flying. That'd be a little bit scary to me. So remember, you are still the pilot of the plane. You're not letting AI pilot the plane. And then I want to show you that I found this little slogan, and this was created by ChatGPT. Use AI for assistance. human wisdom for guidance and think before you automate, because we know that if your AI is only as good as the human user using it. So I know questions and answers are going to be at the end, but be thinking of this. If you have anything for me at the end, what questions do you have? What are some key takeaways, and what do you want to learn more about? And then the last thing that I will say is I have, and I will put this in the link, and Edwin had told me that he can send this out to you all. I have a free ChatGPT course. If you are a social worker, you can get free CEUs for it. If you're not a social worker, check it out. It's free. That kind of gives you prompts that you can use and gives a much deeper dive into using ChatGPT. And then there's some more information about my free course. If you're taking the licensing exam, I'd love to connect. So find me on LinkedIn. I love connection. That's why I got into this work. So I hope that you will be able to connect with me, and that if you ever have any questions or need any help, that I can be of assistance to you all. So thank you. I know that was so quick, and I do want to show you really quick this one tool. So let me exit out of this and let me show you Chat PDF. So this is what I use it for in grad school. It's called Chat PDF. I already upload a PDF document here, and in the chat I can ask it questions. So I can say, what are the main results from this study? Let's see what it tells me here. So it says here, there's no specific study, but it cites the benefits of a peer support group. It mentions positive feedback from consultants. And then I can say, what are the recommendations from this article? Let's see what comes up here. It's important to create clear goals and objectives for supervision sessions. You can provide, it gives you all, it's like you're interacting, it's like your own personalized tutor. So I use this if you get a really hard document and you're just like, I'm not the type of person that understands facts and data like at a high level. That's me. So there's so many cool tools out there, but I just wanted to show you this one. If you need help with these tough to read academic pieces, this could be a really good tool. So I will end with that. But I just in the chat wanted you to, one last thing before we turn it over, what is one takeaway that you've got you thinking, or something you want to think further about AI and how you use it either in your personal, professional life? So go ahead in the chat. What got you thinking here? Hopefully there was some food for thought and it just got you thinking about some things. And I'll read that off as our final touch point. What are some things that you've been thinking about as we just kind of talked about this broad overview of AI, or like a takeaway? You're like, oh, I never thought about that before. And I will stop sharing. Oh, someone said that tool at the end. I love Chat PDF. That's a great one. What other takeaways do we have? I'll just read a couple more that come through, and I'll give you time to write. I know, take some time. For me, I think the big takeaway, even creating this presentation, was we use AI a lot already, right? Like, how often do I pick up my phone and it's using my face? Ethics, absolutely. Trust, that is so big. We don't want to break our clients' trust. So if we're using these bots and these AI tools and not letting our clients know, that could be a very big breach of confidentiality. Oh, I like that someone said humans are still in the driver's seat, right? Remember, you're the pilot flying that plane. There's tools to help us fly the plane, but you got to fly the plane. Yeah. Ending with an actual person. Do not ever just copy and paste something from AI. Use your human brain, right? We are the humans here. So hopefully it got you thinking, and I'm excited for our other presenters, and I will be happy to answer any questions at the end. So thank you all. I know that was so quick. We could talk forever about it, but I hope that you guys took something from it.
Thank you so much, Megan Mitchell. Let's all give a round of applause through the reactions. I really appreciate everything that you taught us, because there's so many things that we can be afraid of. And artificial intelligence, you know, the media out there is not saying, hey, you guys are already using it. They're trying to provide fear. And yet we don't have to be afraid, because we are the driver, right? And we can manage it the correct way to just improve our lives. So thank you so much. Everyone just kind of give your thumbs up, your reactions, send her some love by sending a heart. I want to send you a heart. Thank you so much, Ms. Mitchell. I really appreciate you coming here. And don't forget to, I just encourage all of you guys to participate in the licensing exam provided by Agents of Change. So that website is www.agents, so agentsofchangeprep.com. So I'm gonna, Ms. Mitchell, can you type it up in the chat real quick so people can copy it? So log in, and it's free, like she said. So please take advantage of the free resources and kind of take steps forward in your career. Awesome. Let's see. All right. That was really good. It was a perfect introduction to kind of wet our toes and into artificial intelligence. And as we're aware that it is part of our everyday lives, we're going to continue to learn some more and get into details and learn more in depth about artificial intelligence. So I want to present Ernesto Bejarano, is a social work artificial intelligence specialist with almost 30 years of experience. He holds a master's degree in social work. He is the founder of Social Work AI Magic and the author of the book, Artificial Intelligence AI for Social Workers. It is with great pleasure I welcome our second keynote speaker, Mr. Ernesto Bejarano. Welcome.
Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you very much. Good morning for me. It looks like some of you are getting to the afternoon already, but good morning, I'll say. Can I share my screen? Let me see if I can get this shared. Are we good on the screen share? Can you see that? Okay, perfect. Let me move this here. Okay, well, good morning. Like I said, everybody, I am very happy to be here. As Marilyn mentioned, my name is Ernesto Bejarano. I want to thank, first of all, the Latino Coalition, Marilyn, Edwin, Tanya. Everyone has been very helpful, and I'm very appreciative of the invite and the opportunity to be here this morning. Well, I'm going to go on my time right now. I'm in California, so it's morning for me here. You might hear, I was listening to my friend Megan's presentation towards the end there, and you might hear some similar stuff in my presentation, the way you have already heard today. And I think that's a good sign. That's a good thing, because it tells me that those of us who are kind of working actively in this space are on the same page. And so as more of our colleagues come on board, I think we are, we have that social worker mindset. We have that social service provider mindset, and we're going to move this in the right direction. I'm confident in that. If you want to find me online, I use Social Work Mentor on YouTube and all the social medias. So if you look up Social Work Mentor or even Social Work Magic, you'll be able to probably find me. Although, and I know this particular organization, Latino Coalition, does a lot of work around DV and IPV. And although I haven't run groups in years, I've done a lot of different work since then, but I have been a certified domestic violence facilitator. So I'm, happy to share what I know about AI and hopefully see some of you will figure out ways to use the technology to improve services to those that you work with. I've been fortunate to have a lot of different experience and opportunities within social work in my years that I've worked in the field. And you can see some of them here, but if you want to know more, you can look on LinkedIn and see the rest there. But that's enough about that for now. Let's go ahead and get started. So around this time last year, a company called OpenAI released this little thing called ChatGPT. So we're about 2 weeks away from the 1-year anniversary of ChatGPT. And if you just think about everything you've heard and seen and maybe gotten excited about or scared about or nervous about or whatever in AI, it's happened for the most part over just not even the past 1 year yet. So we can just project forward what may be to come. So I somehow came across ChatGPT in early December of last year, and I spent the next week or two totally obsessed with learning more about it. I've always been interested in technology and figuring out how we could apply it in the social work context to help out social workers primarily, and with the end goal of improving services. And so I spent that December pretty much learning about how I could maybe apply some of this stuff to social work. And so by the middle of last December, I was completely convinced that this was something big. I didn't know yet whether or not even it was legal or ethical or good or bad. I just knew it was significant. And so I saved the post that I made here on one of my social medias, and I said, ChatGPT is a literal global game changer. So from the beginning, I felt very strongly about, good or bad, this was going to change things. So since then, I usually take some vacation time over the holidays every year. And I spent that whole vacation time last year when I wasn't with my family, relaxing and spending time. I spent that time building what would become a thing that I developed called the Social Work Magic app, and starting what would become a book that I put out called AI for Social Workers. So I spent my vacation time last year around this time just kind of immersed in doing that work. So nowadays, fast forward 1 year, both of my daughters are off to college, so that's freed up a lot of time for me. So I have plenty of time to work to kind of maintain the app, to try to see how I can improve it, to work on new applications, and to put out content, videos, blogs, etc., to kind of educate people about what I know about AI, my colleagues, and hopefully make them feel comfortable, not necessarily deciding to use it, but just having the information to make an informed decision for themselves. Because I felt that in the beginning, a lot of people were, that fear that we all had or have of AI, and it was just very palpable. A lot of people that I talked to were scared to even, or I don't know if scared is the right word, but I'll just say scared to kind of even mess with it. And I felt like a lot of that was because of a lack of information about the technology itself. So I wanted to put forth what I could to educate people about that. So now that you know a little bit more about me and how I got to where I currently find myself with social work and AI, I kind of want to get to know a little bit more about you. And Megan might have done this already in her presentation. I didn't see the whole thing, or I don't know if someone else even presented before that this morning. But I kind of just want to get a sense of where we are in this group in terms of your comfort level with AI or your experience or knowledge of AI. And this will kind of help me determine where I focus the rest of the time that we have together here. So on a scale of 1 to 5, what's your experience with AI, with 1 being very little basically and 5 being a lot? So if you can just put that in the chat, just type a 1 or a 5 or whatever in between. And I'll kind of know where we are here. So there's a lot of 3s, it looks like, which is a good thing. Some on the upper scale, no 1s or 5s yet that I see, which is good and kind of interesting. But it looks like most people are kind of in the middle of that scale. So that is good to know. Thank you for sharing that with me. So now I kind of have a sense where we are. It's all over the spectrum, most people kind of in the middle, and that will kind of guide me here. So let's go ahead and get into this. So I'm going to talk about the basics of AI, which again, you might have heard already a little bit of, what ChatGPT is, and how do ChatGPT and tools like Social Work Magic work. And I mentioned that's the app that I kind of have been working on. So essentially, AI is a system or more than one system that work together that can replicate or mimic thoughts, tasks, or actions that humans normally do. So it's kind of just like repeating or doing in a different or more efficient way things that humans can do. At this time, as we sit here today in November 2023, AI can do a lot of things, and Megan showed some of those already. And its abilities are increasing quickly. The more the technology advances, the things that it can do are also advancing. But overall, at the end of the day, it's still kind of basic, and it doesn't so when I say that, what I mean is that right now AI will almost always require some human intervention to actually end up with a useful result or product. So you can, get some answers, you can get some resources, you can get a lot of stuff from AI, but at the end of the day, to translate that information into a case plan you're working on or a report you're writing or whatever it is, it's going to take you to still be a professional social worker and use that information, use it as a tool, responsibly use it as a tool to then make it real in the real world. So that's kind of what I mean by it's kind of basic. It's not actually doing things without some human intervention. But that being said, the systems are being trained and connected by developers and others right now, and that's changing rapidly. You can kind of tie some level of actions to AI processes. So like you find some, and I'll give some examples in a while if we have time, but you find some information and automatically it emails it and does these things. So some actions are being tied to the AI at this time. So this is kind of a basic example of one very basic way that you can use tools like ChatGPT and other AI tools. And so, think about, we see this young lady here, and I'm looking at my other screen over here. She's got something she wants to know. What is AI? So she wants to know that. And so to this point, many of us would go to Google or Bing or whatever you use, and you would type in the box, what is AI? And then what you'll get is usually some page of results with, well, hundreds or thousands of pages of results. We only look at the first one or two maybe, but there's a whole bunch of links of a whole bunch of pages that Google thinks might have the information that you want. There's some pictures, some videos, some ads. So there's a bunch of stuff on this page. So then what our job is at that time is to get out our little magnifying glass and look for the pages that we think might have what we want. Click on those pages, look through the pages, find the information, go back, look at another one. So it's a big process sometimes. It hasn't felt that big because of what we had to do before. Go to the library and use the little index Dewey Decimal System, for those who remember that. But now, our young lady here is happy, satisfied with the results. Now with ChatGPT and AI, the process can be a little different. So again, the young lady is looking for something. What is AI? So she types it into a tool like ChatGPT, and ChatGPT immediately in a second or two prints out or gives you results. Now and then she's a happy camper. What that AI is essentially doing for us, though, is it's eliminating kind of these two processes that I have circled here that we would have done with this Google search. It's kind of vetting the sites that instead of us looking through each link and each site, the ChatGPT or the AI is finding what it thinks is the most relevant to your question. It's kind of vetting that information. It's sifting, sorting, analyzing, and it's presenting to you what we would have done by doing those two steps of searching through the links and kind of sorting it. AI does that for you. So it eliminates some of those steps and can help us to be more efficient in the work that we do. We can always still go back to old school ways. And I mean, I say old school, it's still with us, Google and regular search, but AI is becoming a new way to do things. If some of you might remember also like the Yellow Pages, some of you might not have been born yet, but the Yellow Pages was a book that would come to your house for your particular area, and it had all the local businesses, plumbers and pest control and delis. And so you'd get that book and you'd open it up and it was alphabetical and you'd find the business and you see their little ad and you have to call them and talk to them. And so it's kind of, to me, that's like an example of now, if we want, the best Oaxacan burrito place in southern Indiana, like we can be that specific, put in that search and get results immediately as opposed to using the Yellow Pages back in the day. So that's kind of a basic example of what AI can do. And I'll get into more examples in a minute. So a few of these slides are kind of dense, and I know you'll have access to this information later, so I might, in the interest of time, just kind of goes through some of these pretty quickly. Excuse me. But So we're still very early in this AI journey, and some sectors like business and medicine may be ahead of us at this time. So social work is kind of at the very beginning. Social work, social services, we're at the very beginning of AI. And so some of these abilities that I'll talk about are still in their infancy. They might not even be implemented right now. They're just kind of theoretical, but they're likely to become reality at some point. So AI, some of the things that it can do is enhance decision making. So it can handle much larger data sets than individual humans can. And with those data sets, it can identify connections, correlations, and put these things together in a way that humans either can't do or it would be very difficult for an individual human or a group of humans to do. AI does this in the blink of an eye. And because it can do that, it helps us to make truly data-informed decisions because it's taking all this data, doing the analyses, making the connections, finding correlations and patterns, and using that to produce information for us. It can do personalized service delivery. So AI will have the ability to provide truly individualized services because potentially, theoretically, with a lot of responsible use and being careful about how we design things, AI will know client histories, their clients' challenges and strengths, and this will potentially lead to better outcomes because those services that we are able to provide are truly personalized to that individual person's life experience. Now, again, that's something that we all would have concerns and want to be very thoughtful and careful about. But if we're able to get there, that's a potential result that we might be able to get to, very personalized service delivery. It could help with efficiency and time management. So the AI systems are being built and utilized right now that take over and complete administrative tasks for you, and it frees you up to do other important work. And I kind of mentioned this already, but an example might be, so AI can be, an AI tool or process can be trained to, let's say, collect parenting class signing sheets every Monday. There's a parenting class, they meet, let's say, Thursdays or Fridays. So the AI could collect the parenting class sheets every Monday, collect the class agenda from that week to determine what topics were missed by anybody who was absent. Then the AI could be trained to generate a personalized message for parents that were absent based on the topic that it pulls from the agenda and based on the reason for their referral. So their personal individual challenges that brought them to the parenting class. So it would generate, hey, you missed this class. We talked about stages of development. One of the things that you might have had challenges with was X, Y, and Z, and here's how it connects. The things that you missed connect to some stuff that you might want to learn about. And then it can email that automatically to a client with a reminder to the next meeting. So that may or may not be something that you would be interested in. But for those who are, you think about how long it would take you to get the sign-in sheets, to go through the sign-in sheets, to find the agenda, to do all this stuff. And an AI system could do this like in a couple seconds. So that's kind of the automation that can help. It could do early intervention and prevention. It could use client-specific data points that can identify patterns in client behavior, analyze these patterns, and then suggest preventive measures that will have been personalized to best fit that client's needs. Again, responsible use. We still have to design these systems responsibly, but if they get there, that's what's possible. And optimizing resources, making sure that we maximize the efficiency of the resources that we have. As we know, there's never enough money, there's never enough resources for us to do the work that we want to do, but we can optimize those resources with AI. And then training and education is a big one. Personalized training and education. And I heard Megan mention like a personalized tutor almost with a PDF reader. That's possible with AI. So AI, important AI terminology. I'm going to kind of just skip over this because I want to save some time. But you'll get this information and you might already be familiar with these things, but just some important terms to know. Artificial intelligence, we already kind of talked about what it is. Machine learning, how AI learns and how it gets its information, and that's it here. A chatbot, we talked about these ChatGPT and things that you can interact with in a very natural way, that you don't have to be an engineer or a coder. You just talk regular and they talk back to you. That's what natural language processing is. And then the algorithm is basically the instructions that an AI has been told what to do. And here's a couple of more terms that you'll get as well. Excuse me. So let me cover a little bit ChatGPT. ChatGPT is probably the most well-known AI tool right now. Although there are others, there's DALL-E, Claude, Llama, Bard. You may have heard some of these or maybe not, but there's a whole bunch of other AI tools that are out there, but ChatGPT is probably the most popular, most well-known at this time. Now, these tools have been designed to have very friendly, very human-friendly interfaces and kind of interaction styles. So if you remember back the words that we just said, chatbot, natural language processing, that's what this is in ChatGPT. It's a chatbot. It has natural language processing, so it makes us able to communicate back and forth with the AI. ChatGPT was originally trained with enormous amounts of data that went all the way up to, I believe, September of 2021. That was the original training. It got much or almost all of the data on the internet up to 2021. But about a week ago, they did an update. So now the information that ChatGPT has been trained on goes all the way up to April of 2023. And it's connected to the internet now, the live internet. So as I mentioned, things are advancing quickly. And so basically, I feel like the use cases for ChatGPT and other AI tools, they seem almost infinite. Like it feels sometimes that there's nothing you can stump this thing on. You can ask it crazy things or just things that you think it'll never know this, and it knows it sometimes better than me, I feel like, within a second. And it would have taken me, 3 days to figure something out. And I trust me, I tried to stump it with like social work specific technical kind of things, and it's not a problem at all. It can't do everything yet, but if you can think of it, you can probably get pretty close with AI and with ChatGPT. So where does it get its responses from? How is it able to do this? One thing that took me a long time to grasp at first was just how the way that the words come out when you search something. Now it's faster, you can hardly tell, but at first it was a little bit slower, and so the words kind of came out in a weird way to me, and I didn't quite understand how it was giving me those responses. So I'm going to try to explain it. It's kind of hard to explain, but I'll try my best. So ChatGPT uses the enormous body of knowledge that it has been trained on via access to the information that it has on the internet. So it uses all this information, and then it learns to predict the next most logical word that should appear in a sentence based on the context of what you asked it and the previous words that it's already responded with. So you ask it a question, it looks at all of the data that it has, it produces the most likely word that's relevant, and then it just continues to produce the most likely next word based on your question and based on the information that it has. And that's how it produces these responses. It's kind of weird to me still that that's the way it does it, but it works. And so that's why I wasn't an engineer who developed this technology. I would have never thought of that, but it works. And then when I first tried ChatGPT and started playing with it, I thought, as I mentioned, that the answers were going to be super vanilla, generic, kind of fluffy. But to my shock at that time, most answers were robust, they're logical, they made a lot of sense. They were specific, as I mentioned, to some very specialized social work knowledge. And I learned that the reason why that is the case, why it could produce such accurate responses, because it's not just pulling information from random places on the internet. It's doing the same thing that we would do, like in a Google search. It goes, it might look up something from academic literature. It might find peer-reviewed journals or articles. It might look at online resources, websites, forums, online communities. It looks at books, news, and media. just common knowledge that it has trained itself on and social work related topics. And so it's using very relevant information to provide responses the same way that we would do. Now, Megan talked about, and I talk about here too, this is a tool. So it's not like just as we wouldn't trust everything that we got from a Google search, we would still have to put a layer of our own professional knowledge, experience, training, education over that before we present it as somewhere. It's the same with ChatGPT, with AI. You take the information as a tool, but you still need to be a professional and vet that information, look for bias, look for possible cultural nuances that it may have missed, and then use it however you need to use it. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts, and I'm looking at the time here just to try to get through this, and I want to make sure I don't run out of time because it's been close on every practice that I've had. But why should you care about all this stuff? I've given you kind of how it works, how we got here, but why should you care? So we already kind of talked a little bit about the search example and how AI and ChatGPT can kind of provide direct responses as opposed to having to do the searches ourselves like we do kind of currently with Google. So that's one way that AI and tools like ChatGPT can help. AI can also provide instantaneous references and links to things like videos, books, journals. I mentioned that already. And not only can it provide you those, so Google would give us all that stuff too, but as I also kind of talked about, it can give you summary, and Megan showed this too, it can give you summaries of each resource. It can, break it down. It could give you bullet points. It could give you analyses. So you can use it to find resources, but also not just tell AI, give me the resource, but tell me a little bit about each one of these resources that you're providing me so I can better select what I might use for whatever I'm trying to do. AI can sort information, like I said. So let me see, an example that I just kind of thought of was, you can tell an AI, for instance, summarize this journal article with 20 bullet points that contain the most important information. So that might be like your first command. An AI will give you 20 bullet points about whatever article that you tell it. So then on the next prompt, you can say, now provide the same bullet points that you just did, but include any relevance or any connection to the cycle of violence, let's say. So it'll give you those same prompts, but now next to those prompts, it'll make some connection or correlation or whatever with the cycle of violence. So you can kind of make that connection. You probably could have done that yourself too, but this does it very quickly and efficiently. So then on your next prompt, you can say, okay, now with that information, write me a concise professional email with this information that I can share with my colleagues and provide an English and a Spanish version and include any relevant citations. And the AI within a second or two will do that. So it's not only sorting information, but like I talked about, you can kind of get it to now move towards not just the information, but doing something with that information that you can use every day in your job. It can be helpful for idea generation. So sometimes when you're stuck or you don't maybe have a lot of knowledge about a particular subject, it can help you kind of generate ideas, get the juices flowing. So you can ask for things like, suggestions for treatment modalities or recommendations for intervention approaches. You could ask, give me 10 respectful, solution-focused ways to say no to extra work in the work environment. Or you can say, give me some ways to prepare myself for a promotion in a clinical setting. So there's all these kind of idea generation things that you can do on basically whatever you want. And within an instant, AI will give you that. It might not give you the answer that you need, but it can start your brain, your human brain thinking. Again, back to the idea of using it as a tool. You're not just going to take whatever it says and just go with it. You have to process it as a human and apply it to the real world. But the possibilities to me are kind of endless in this area, idea generation. And in my experience, you're almost always going to get something back that's very legitimate to anything that you ask, or most things. Once in a while, there's a hiccup, but it's few and far between in my experience. This is one that I like. You can use it for idea validation. So a quick story. I supervise a unit of social workers in my regular job. And so we had a case come through that many of us do that's very difficult, a lot of gray areas, a lot of complicating factors. And so I was, my team member and I sat down and we consulted for about an hour. A few other people came in. Eventually, we were able to develop a plan that we thought was, a good plan for this particular client. And we came to an agreement that this is the way we'll move forward. So just out of curiosity, I plugged that plan into the Social Work Magic tool, the one that I developed, obviously without any confidential information, just kind of the outline of what the situation was, what our plan was, and asked it for feedback. And I was kind of shocked. I was kind of scared. I was excited, but it gave back almost word for word the plan that we had developed. And it also gave like a few other things that we didn't even think of. So to me, like I said, it's kind of scary because some people worry about your job being taken and the robots taking over and those kinds of things that I've heard. But to me, I felt like this is a good tool to use to validate the work that we still need to do as humans, with the ability to understand a lot of the nuances of the work, the emotions, the things that a computer can't do. But it's good to be able to check that against a knowledge base that can validate what we're doing or give us new ideas, or some stuff. It could have come up with some stuff that as a social worker, I would have said, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't apply here. That's why, again, it's a tool that we still have to vet as professionals. So what are the opportunities now that we're all learning a lot today and every day as things change, but some of you might remember, and I won't ask you who remembers this, but some of you might remember when the internet first got integrated into the social work profession. I know when I came in like 96, the internet was pretty new and basic, and you would probably laugh if you saw some of the web pages that we had at that time. But some of us remember that, or we remember when email became part of the work, or when we got laptops maybe, or tablets, or cell phones, or any other of the tools and technologies that we have at our disposal today. And so I think that we're at the start of another one of those revolutions right now. I think all those things have been revolutionary in social work. And I think we're at the start of one of those right now, maybe bigger or as big as any of the things we've had to this point. And so with that being said, kind of what are the opportunities? Well, I think right now, the social work profession has the opportunity to be thoughtful and forward thinking and just clarify and codify it and kind of put into policy our position as a profession on responsible use of AI. I mean, we might decide as a profession, we don't want anything to do with this, and no, we forbid its use. I don't think we're going to go there. I wouldn't want us to go there, but it's possible. But we have the opportunity as a profession to make that kind of determination right now, at least in the beginning of all this. Where do we stand on this? How do we use it? What are the principles or guidelines or policies that we'll use? Individual social workers, you and I, have the opportunity to bring the voice of social work to the table in policy making for AI. And that might be within your own organization and figuring out how, whether you're 10 people in the office or 500, how are we going to all agree to responsibly use AI or not? How do we, make policy for that? Or it could be individual social workers, maybe that are into politics and other things at the legislative level, can be at the table to help make decisions about the responsible use of AI. That's an opportunity for us as individuals right now. And we also, I know Megan and others have talked about this too, we have the opportunity to collaborate with tech professionals to kind of be at the table when these applications and technologies are being developed, so that those things reflect social work values or just human values, because it doesn't necessarily need to be a social work facing tool to need to be aware of bias, to need to be aware of confidentiality and all these things. I feel that a lot of people that are developing these tools at this point are hearing that kind of message, and I've heard that they are at least cognizant of it, they're aware of it, they're trying to address it, but there's nothing like having a social worker or a social work professional or someone in, related professions at those tables, giving our voice to make sure that the humans in the world who will interact, whether it's at Comcast, their little chatbot, or whether it's on a client database being used for a parenting class, that those things reflect our ideals, our values, and our ethics. So those are opportunities. What are some of the challenges? It's not all opportunity. There are also challenges that many of you probably, I've seen you type it into the chat already, some of these things. But some of the challenges that we still need to confront ongoing are, we've talked about confidentiality and privacy in the development of the technology and the development of the policies for its use. That's a huge one. Understanding and minimizing the biases in the algorithms. Megan gave a good example of that earlier. But just kind of, we need to be aware of that challenge. It exists. How do we address it? And then keeping up with the technology. I've been working on some new stuff and trying to build out some new things. But over the past week or two, it's like there's been an explosion of all these new things, and it's difficult to keep up with that. So that's a challenge for me, who's kind of actively involved in this, and some other people that are doing the work. But imagine, just a social worker or a therapist or someone who's not really super into AI, but they're on the periphery, they're kind of using it or whatever. To try to keep up with it is a challenge, because you might use it 1 week and a few weeks pass by and you try to use it again and it's completely different. So that's challenging to some people to keep up with it. And then also the idea of, that I hear it less now, but I have heard still the thought of that the robots are going to take our jobs, or these technologies are going to take over what we do. And so there's a lot of research that's legitimate. Like, all these challenges or all these concerns or questions that people have are super valid, super legitimate, and we have to hear those things and we have to discuss them. We can't just turn a blind eye or whatever that it is and pretend like these challenges don't exist. They do. Everything that I've seen and read, a lot of it has spoken to the fact or brought up the fact that professions like ours, social workers, therapists, counselors, because of the work that we do, the humanistic side of things, the need for, in a conversation one-on-one with someone who's going through something very, very difficult in their lives, and AI at this time is not going to pick up on those in the moment subtle changes in emotions or in intonation, the way someone is speaking, in body language, in body position, in interactions with other people that may be in the room. Like, all these things that we take in as social workers, sometimes I think take for granted are all these things that we're processing. The AI can't do that right now. I don't know where it's going to be 10 years from now, but right now we are, I feel, kind of solid in our ability to maintain our profession and do the work that we do while using AI as a tool. So kind of, where are we now? What's next? As Megan mentioned, again, I keep going back to her presentation because we're aligned on this. We're already using AI. Most of us are either using Siri or Google Maps or Waze or Google Search, when you type something in and it auto-populates what it thinks you're gonna want to search for. If you go pay a bill, there's a little chat bot on the bottom that will help you, so you don't have to talk to a human or wait for wait on hold on the phone. Food delivery, all these things are using some element of AI. So it's here. It's not, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. It's just growing more and more. And and not only is it growing, it's growing fast. So we need to think about what options we have as a profession with regards to AI. Initially, 1 year ago, I did hear a lot of, this has no place in social work. Get this out of here. Some of the stuff that was said to me it wasn't nice, kind of, but that's okay. Those things are valid. But I've seen just basically that tone, people understand that it is here. We can't put our head in the sand and hope that it goes away, because I don't think it's going to. We need to be responsible and figure out how we're going to work with AI. And we need to also, an important thing to me is think about the next generation. We may already have people in our offices, or you may be one of these people in the office who's just starting in the profession, and these individuals are graduating into or starting professionally in a world that doesn't look like the world that many of us came into. AI is a reality for a lot of these people, and fast forward a year, 2, 3, it will be embedded in everything. And so for some of us, more seasoned workers are on the way out, we have I think the obligation to help the next generation understand the way that we've done things to this point and get a firm grasp on that, but also help them transition to a world where AI is a reality. And so that is kind of, I think, a place, that's where we are right now with respect to that. And then I mentioned, obviously, we all need to determine at whatever level that each one of us believes what's right for each one of us individually. The speakers today, myself included, I think obviously we are pro AI at this point. We're kind of advocates of responsible use and using it as a tool and all these things. But each one of us, I saw in the comments and when Megan was speaking, some people are not that comfortable. Some people are still kind of wary, or I don't know if scared is the right word, but they're not on the spectrum is wide and broad, and we're all over the place. So each one of us has to kind of determine where we are there. And that may evolve over time, but that's something that we need to deal with now. So there's gonna be a short video in a couple seconds here that will go over a lot of this. So I'm not gonna go over too much on this slide, but this is kind of what the ChatGPT interface looks like. If you've never tried it or played with it, there's a bar on the left that has a history of your chats. And to start a new chat, your account information is down on the bottom left. And then on the very bottom in the middle, that's where you type in or now speak in your questions, your prompts, your queries. Some tips about using ChatGPT. You want to always clearly communicate what you want from the AI. You have to be clear and precise sometimes, or you should be, because ambiguous or vague or unclear instructions can lead to unsatisfactory responses and make you feel like this stuff doesn't work, but it's usually tied to the way that you ask the question. So if your question involves specific details or context, you want to be sure to include that information in the prompt to help the AI understand and generate more accurate responses. It's the difference of what is a good AI or what is a good DV program? That's one prompt you can ask and it'll give you something. Or you can ask, what is the most effective domestic violence program to prevent violence in single fathers, or what? I'm just thinking off the top of my head. But that kind of a question is going to give you typically back a more thorough and robust response, because the AI understands kind of where you're coming from. And so we covered all of this. So the Social Work Magic tool is the tool that I developed. It kind of has two sides to it. There's a template side and there's a chatbot side. Here's some of the differences between the two. I'm getting close here on time, so I want to get to this video, but you can look at that later. So I'll run this video and then we'll close it out here. All right, so this is the ChatGPT website. You'll see up here at the top GPT 3.5, which is the free version that everyone has access to as long as you sign up with your email, and you'll see your account down here. GPT-4 at the time. Just want to check in. Can you hear that? Okay. Of this recording in November of 2023 is an upgrade, so you'll need to pay for that, but you can do everything you want to do mostly just fine here, at least at a basic level with 3.5. Here in this left sidebar, you can close it or you can open it back up whenever you want. This is a running recording or a running history of all the different conversations you've had. So I just started this one today, so I only have a history from today, but in my experience, the history will go for many months, and every conversation you have, as long as you don't delete it with this little trash can, will be here, and you can go back into these conversations at any time and continue them. So that's where you'll see your history there. Anytime you want to start a new chat, you'll click here. New chat, we'll be doing that in a second. Here's the place where you will enter your question or your query. Recently, there's been an upgrade so you can hear your response read back to you, and you can speak your question into the tool as opposed to typing it or pasting it. So I'll show that in a second, but for now, let's go ahead and try to demonstrate this. So let's go with new chat, and I am going to put a question in here and send it. And so I asked a very basic question, and immediately it produces a response for me. So I asked good domestic violence programs. I really didn't even form it as a question. I just said that, and it was able to produce 8 programs that I could look deeper into, ask further questions about, continue the query in this conversation. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and just ask a little bit more specific question. So now I'm not just asking good domestic violence programs. I want to know what are the 5 most effective programs. So here it goes into, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it gives at least 5 examples of effective programs. So now let's say that I can go as deep as I want on any of these particular answers. I can ask it to give me 5 more. I can, do whatever I want. But for now, let me dig a little deeper. And this time, let me uncheck the speaker. So I don't know if you'll be able to hear it on this recording, but we'll try it. And I'm going to speak this question as opposed to typing it. What about for prevention programs for single young fathers? Okay.
Prevention programs aimed at single young fathers can be highly effective in providing support and guidance to prevent domestic violence, promote healthy relationships, and help young fathers develop the skills.
So it's kind of like you're having an audible conversation by speaking the question in and getting the question read back to you. But the question was, what about for prevention programs for single young fathers? So I went from an initial question of just good domestic violence programs to then what are the 5 most effective programs to then what about for prevention programs for single young fathers? So throughout this conversation, ChatGPT, the AI, is remembering the context of the conversation. So each time you don't have to say domestic violence programs or be very specific because it already knows that you're having a conversation about domestic violence programs. So now the last one I'll just show, just to give an example of how specific we can get on these, and that's really a very practical way to use this is get very specific. So I'm going to ask, what about prevention programs for single young couples in the Midwest? So that's very specific now. Single young couples in the Midwest, prevention programs. And so it gives us a response about that. And we can certainly dig deeper on these things and look further into it. But I'm just trying to demonstrate how you can have conversations here with ChatGPT in the chat function here, and you can get very thorough, fairly long responses, and you can dig as deep as you want and have it make sense for what you need. So that's an overview of ChatGPT at the time of this recording in November of 2023, the free version, and what is possible for you to do with the tool. All right, now we are at the Social Work AI Magic tool on the homepage. And so once you have an account and you're logged in and you see your login here, you can go ahead and start. So there's 2 sides to this tool, as I mentioned previously, hopefully. One is this chat interface that you'll see here. So it's basically, it functions like a text or a chat that you might be having with a colleague, a friend, a supervisor. And so I'm just going to go ahead and the same questions that I had asked in ChatGPT, we'll ask them here and we'll see the difference. So we asked the same question, good domestic violence programs. Now, this is meant not to be as thorough, as dense, as long, as detailed of a response as you might have seen in ChatGPT. This is meant if you want quick answers on the fly, you want something that you can use quickly and just get a quick answer, then that's what this is for. It's an opportunity for you to get the response that you need for any given question in a very brief format when you don't quite need all the details yet, you don't need all the specifics, and you just need something very usable and very accessible in the moment. So I'll continue to ask the questions, the same questions that we asked in that previous example. It provides some examples here, and some of them are the same that you saw in the ChatGPT model. But again, this is meant to be a little more accessible, a little more usable. It's kind of just like you're asking that to someone in your office and someone that is a trusted colleague. And so I'll continue to ask these questions. Again, this is just so you can see the way that this tool functions. It has the specific social work training in the background, so it has expertise in any given area, whether it's DV, drug and alcohol prevention. That expertise is all built in here to the background of this. And so I won't go any further, but as you can see, this is a chat function where you can, pull your phone. I'm doing this on my computer here, but you can pull your phone out of your pocket and if you have 2 minutes to look something up, this will provide you very easily accessible information in this format. So we're going to go here and we're going to go over to the template side. Now this is a little bit different, but you'll see this is where you'll have some options that have been vetted through social work experts, and you'll see what I'm talking about here when you see the options that you're given. So what you're going to need to do here is first you choose a perspective for your desired response. So you're telling the AI, you're telling the tool, what are you acting as? What kind of specific expertise do you have? So we're going to say, in this case, domestic violence expert. So we're telling the AI, you are an expert in domestic violence. Then we're going to tell it what we want it to create. There's a lot of different options here, and you can see all of these different things. But let's go ahead and try safety plan. So you're telling it you're a domestic violence expert. We want you to create a safety plan. And then here is where you will put in some information, obviously remembering confidentiality and privacy. But I'm going to paste just a hypothetical example here of a typical scenario that we might see in our work. And you can hopefully read through some of that, skim through that. Then you tell the AI the voice that you want it to use. Do you want it to be excited, dramatic, concerned? We're going to go with professional. So you're telling it to use a professional voice. So these are all things, context that you're providing. In ChatGPT, you would have to do each one of these things separately and type it into your prompt if you really want a specific response like we're going to get here. Here, you don't need to think about it. You don't need to remember to add it into your prompt. It's in these drop downs. So this will all be built into the question when we're done here. Who's the intended audience? Let's just say general audience for now. Or let's say if it's a safety plan, let's say the audience is client. And then the desired length, you may want something brief, something long. Let's just say no preference. And what I'm going to add to this, I'm going to say use sections typical of a safety plan used in juvenile court. Just off the top of my head, and let's see what that does. So just to review, we've used the template and we've told it, you're a domestic violence expert. We want you to create a safety plan. Here are the details, the specifics of the case that we're referring to and how we want you to format it. We want you to use a professional voice. The audience is the client, and we don't have any preference at this time for the length. So we'll go ahead and click submit, and then you'll get a response here in a moment that will hopefully provide all this information that you didn't really have to think of. It kind of was built into the template. So you'll see the word null here because this tool is built to kind of eliminate any instance where there may be a name or some identifying information used. So whenever it senses that, it uses the word null to try to add an extra layer of protection to confidentiality. But this is the case plan, or a safety plan that we established through the tool. So if you read through it, you'll see that it is typically very legitimate. I'm not going to read through it right now as I'm recording this, but usually they're very legitimate. Now, this one is kind of brief because we didn't specify the length, but we could have told it any number of things. We could have told it go into detail in each section. We could have told it to do at least 1,000 words. And so the idea would be that you would copy this information by clicking the copy button here and then paste it into your secure environment in your office where your information is protected. And then you can go ahead and layer in some of the other details, some of the identifying information, and tailor it to your specific needs. But again, that needs to be in a secure environment. So this is an example of what you can do once you leave this page. You do lose this. So if you go back to the template section, you'll start a new one and you won't be able to get back to that information. And then if you go to the chatbot, again, this was the other version that you can interact in a brief, easily accessible format that can give you information quickly that you can use all right, so this is the ChatGPT. Oops. So I'm conscious of the time here, so I want to be respectful. So the video is pretty much ending there and you'll get this at the end. But I just want to reiterate to close off here in the last minute here or so. AI changes nothing about our commitment as social workers to the ethical standards of our work, our code of ethics, our obligations to things like confidentiality, transparency, informed consent, advocacy. We're still social workers and we still have these professional obligations. And so, that this is a tool, but it's not replacing this, and we still have to do our job as professional social workers. So the AI Magic tool, if you want to try it for yourself and see if it works for you, certainly you can use ChatGPT or any of these other tools, but if you want to try AI Magic, you can go to socialworkmagic.com and use the code FREE30. It already comes with a 7-day free trial, but you can get another 30 days to try it for free and see how it works for you. If you're interested in the book, you could go to bit.ly/AI for SW book. And again, you'll get this information and you'll find the book there. If you want to ask me any questions or connect with me, you can email me at socialworkmentor@gmail.com. Find me at socialworkmentor online, or go to socialworkmagic.com or socialworkerai.com. And I didn't leave enough time for questions, but you could type them into the chat and I think I'll get them at some point. I apologize for going a little bit over, but I want to thank you all so much for your time and for paying attention and giving me this opportunity. And hopefully you find a way, or you determine what's right for you with AI in a way that hopefully makes your work more efficient and easy and has positive outcomes for the people that you all serve. So thank you very much.
Ernesto, thank you so much. What a great presentation. I think just digging in and being able to see how ChatGPT works for those that are not familiarized with it. Who here in the chat has not tried ChatGPT, or do like a thumbs up or kind of wave? So it's interesting to see. Thank you for that beautiful brief introduction to it, and what a great work with Social Work AI Magic. You dedicated so much time. It's so cool to see how we can get obsessed with something to help the community just grow. So congratulations on that. Thanks for taking all time to help better the lives of many social workers here in all over, right?
Thank you.
No, thank you. So everyone just give a hand of applause to Mr. Ernesto. Yay, and put it, do a reaction, send a heart, send them some love, because we need new tools constantly to be able to help make our work more efficient, correct? Awesome. Well, next, I'm going to invite Mr. Jarrett Moore, Manager of Government and Relations Affairs, to deliver a remark on behalf of Comcast. Thank you and welcome.
Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me. It's definitely an honor to be with you all again. I'm not sure if any of you remember me from last year, but I had the great honor to greet you all in the last summit that you had last year, and definitely make my acquaintance with the Latino Coalition. And again, to continue our continued partnership. Again, it's a great opportunity to be here with you all. I want to give a shout out to Edwin. I don't see him on the line here, but if he's anywhere near, I just want to say hello to you and always thank him for the invitation that he gives to Comcast to support the Latino Coalition. Again, it's just an honor to be with you guys. I just want to offer a few brief remarks. First, again, giving great highlight to the Latino Coalition and the outstanding work that you guys do. Not only within the specific community, but throughout the state of Indiana. You guys are an outstanding coalition, and all that you do, as well as promoting digital technology and the purpose of developing digital skills within the community. You guys are definitely a valuable piece to our field of work and to the community at large. So I definitely want to give great honor to the Latino Coalition. And not only that, but our continued partnership within Comcast. I know you all have been definitely a partner with us, and we have contributed to the Latino Coalition for many years here. And we look to continue our partnership and advance you all's community work and supporting the organization in any way that we can as it relates to reducing the gap in digital technology and serving the underserved population. Because we all know that broadband and digital equity and digital skills is probably the most important skill set that you could have in today's society. So Comcast is always going to be right there with you guys. You can count on us for not only a hand-in-hand partnership, but a financial partnership. We will always be there to support the Latino Coalition in any efforts that you all look to do in the future. And I'm always going to be your person. So definitely let me know in any way I can serve you all and continuing the efforts and the important work that you guys do to help build skills and highlight the very important need of digital technology and digital need, especially as it relates to artificial intelligence and how it progresses in society. And so, again, I'm just happy to be here. Thank you guys again for the opportunity for allowing me to support you all and to be a part of this event. I look forward to many, many more events, and certainly reach out to me if there's anything that Comcast can do in conjunction to what we already do. We are willing and ready to support the Latino Coalition in any way possible. So again, thank you guys, and hope to see you all again. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jarrett. I appreciate you and Comcast and all your financial support and also the emotional support that you give to people in the community. We really appreciate it. Everybody,
so much.
you can give a thumbs up or a clap, send some love.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, well, we have another keynote speaker, the last one. Let's see, Rihanna Springs is an award-winning international human rights expert and tech entrepreneur. With the United Nations, the Swiss Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and diverse legal teams, Rihanna has defended the most vulnerable individuals and spearheaded multinational human rights projects across 18 countries in Africa, Asia, South America, and Europe. She speaks 5 languages and holds law degrees from London School of Economics and Oxford Brookes University. Age 17, Rihanna set up and ran her first IT business, having learned various programming languages. Rihanna is the founder and executive director of Spring ACT or Spring Act Action, Compassion Technology, connecting human rights and tech to empower individuals to take action and help eliminate global social injustices. Her team developed Sophia, the world's first chatbot, empowering survivors of domestic violence to gather potential evidence and seek help wherever they're at in the world. It's free, anonymously, and without leaving a digital trace. How powerful is that? So it's with great pleasure that I welcome our third keynote speaker, Miss Rihanna Springs. Welcome.
Thank you, Marilyn. It's lovely to be here. And what an introduction. I would like to jump right in. There was a bit of a miscommunication with time zones, as it very often is the case. So I'm going to try and get everything in 20 minutes that I prepared for 45 minutes. So let's jump in right in.
Okay,
What I'd like to start off with is do a little temperature check and see how many of you have used AI. If you can just take out your smartphones and scan the QR code at the top right corner here. And let me know if you've used AI, if you've never tried it before, if you use it in your daily life, if you've tried it out, once. Then this is a live poll, so we can see everyone's results in a second.
Some people need to scan in the QR code.
Yeah, scan it here on has it disappeared? Do you need to scan it again? Just quickly go back. Oh, let's do this.
If everyone can mute their mics, that would be great, except the keynote speaker. Thank you.
Really interested to see how everyone's been using AI. And while we wait for the last 19 seconds, I'll just say what you can expect from the next 20 minutes is I'd like to just see the temperature check about how everyone is using AI and then go into the power that AI has for good and to address the concerns at the end as well. There we go. So from you all, yeah, so actually, wow. So it's a tie between half of you or half the people who replied have never used AI and half have used it in their daily life, and some have tried it out. That's a very interesting split. So those who use it in your daily life, you will probably know. Let me just stop sharing that for a sec. Using AI in our daily lives, if you know it or not. So we think of AI and we think about this big, foreign thing, maybe robots, they're going to take over the world, but actually AI is very much in our daily lives already. It's in your smartphones, it's your voice assistant, it's the facial recognition if you have that on your phone, your camera enhancement, these filters, all these things, autocorrect, they're all used by AI. So you're actually, all of you, most likely using AI as we speak multiple times a day, Netflix recommendations, social media, the personalized walls, email spam filters and categorization, Google Maps, the traffic predictions, any news apps that you have that kind of look at which articles that you are most likely to use. Duolingo, if any one of you are using learning a new language. So AI is very much all around us, and we're moving more and more towards this. Well, we're in the age, it's begun, and moving more and more towards AI being all around us. There is, however, one case where it's not used as much, and I wish and I'm working towards where AI should be used in much stronger way is in social work and the NGO sector in general. And that's where I come in. So I'm Rana Spring. I'm the founder and director of Spring Act. Like Marilyn said before, we connect human rights and technology to empower individuals like you, like anyone, to take action through these technologies and help eliminate global social injustices. But yes, so I'm to have to cut a bit short over here. So we're going to do a new question on our biggest challenges, but I think because we come from the same sector, we all are very aware of the challenges that we have in social work and human rights in our fight to end domestic violence. And one of these main challenges that we found was that even though it's such a prevalent issue everywhere in the world, only 40% ever seek help, and globally it's only 10% report to the police. And this, of course, in the Latino community is even higher. The unreported cases are even higher than in the general statistics, because of language barriers, because of immigration fears, because of stigma, because of a lack of information out there. And so what we've done at Spring Act is we've developed Sophia. Sophia, like he said, is the chatbot that helps survivors of domestic violence gather potential evidence and seek help wherever they are in the world. And I've brought her along with me today and I'll let her introduce herself. Oh. Sophia is accessible 24/7, completely anonymously, and wherever you are in the world. It's as easy as chatting to a friend on your phone. You can either go to the browser and type in sophia.chat, and there she is, or on your messaging app that you already have, be that Viber, Telegram, or WhatsApp, and look for Sophia chatbot, and there she is. WhatsApp, there's a number, and you start chatting. She's available in currently 12 languages, including Spanish and Quechua, because we launched in Peru last year. And by next year, she will be, because of all these AI transformative steps that we've been making as humanity, Sophia will be available in 50 languages in the year to come. I've brought a brief demo with me that you can see how this works when you do chat to her. So you type, after you've typed in Sophia.chat, sorry, it just goes forward. There you go. When you type Sophia.chat, this is in Telegram. There she is. She's right there on your phone, everyone's phone right now. She's there. It's not an app, so there's no need to download anything. She's in the chat like a friend. And except for WhatsApp, you have to save the number, but in Telegram and Viber or on Sophia.chat, you just go and there she is. She asks you what language you'd like to speak in. Here, we've clicked Spanish. She tells you that she's not an emergency service, which is very important. She's helps for anything below that. And wherever you are, what I mean by this is every single country, we have mapped at least one organization that can help on a national level. So if we haven't launched locally yet, this is, for example, in the United States, we haven't yet done that. And you type in United States, she will send you the national hotline for domestic violence. Once we do launch nationally, meaning we partner with a local organization in a country and we map all the support services down to state and even municipality level. That's one thing that she does. The other thing, as you can see here, is seeing the signs of abuse, for example. Here is the cycle of abuse that you can find out what that means exactly. Or you can click on the signs of abuse and learn about the different forms. Very often people think that domestic violence is only physical, but through Sophia, in a very low threshold way, you can just find out. Nobody ever needs to know you're looking for help or are unsure. You can go there and look, these are the different forms of abuse, and check if your relationship is healthy. I was going to show a quick demo of the digital safe, which is the second main feature of Sophia, which is gather potential evidence. So she walks you through what is evidence, and for example, if it's physical evidence, how do you take this evidence or screenshots? And then you can create a digital safe that we've developed in a very new, secure and innovative manner that you can store there, and the agency always stays with the survivor. It's stored there on servers in Switzerland, protected by GDPR and completely end-to-end encrypted. So there's no way other person in the world that can get to this but the survivor herself. What we've done is, because the person that you're protecting this evidence from probably knows you best in the world, very often you can't use a password that you use usually. You can't use a password manager because you're probably being monitored, or you share a computer, and it needs to be highly, highly, highly secure, the password that you use, because the evidence that you're putting in is the most sensitive data you can imagine. Health reports, police reports, potential evidence, all these things have to be really secure. So what we've done, and I wish I had time to demo it now, but I'm happy to send a link. We've got a demo video that you see step by step how this works, is that we've created an image password. What do I mean by an image password? When you go onto sophia.chat and you click onto digital safe, she'll take you to this website of the digital safe. Here you choose a username, like any other username, and instead of choosing a password, you choose an image. You choose an image, for example, of your favorite art painting, or I have a cat, for example, so I would send a picture of my cat. Sophia takes that picture and stenographically embeds a key into that picture. From the naked eye, this picture looks exactly the same, but this image that she's changed and sends back to you will then open your digital safe. So next time you want to go into your digital safe, which currently looks like this, you type in your username and you upload the image that Sophia has encrypted altered for you. So instead of a password, you have an image, and that's the key to your digital safe, keeping not only your files safe, but the survivor herself or himself as well. I'm running through this very fast. I'm very aware it's a very innovative way of using and ensuring survivors' safety. Please do check out. I'll send the link right after this chat into the chat, and please do check out the demo. When you then click away from exit the digital safe, what Sophia does is that she rewrites the browser history. So you click exit and she disappears. Any trace of her completely disappears. She rewrites the browser history to look like you've been at Google. If you go back there again, it's a decoy website that we've created that looks like a URL shortening service. So there is no way that someone can find any trace of Sophia on your phone or browser. The way we like to work is to think global and act local. So Sophia is a global tool available in every single country. It's so important, however, to work on local level with local actions and organizations who know the cultures and customs and the ecosystem the best. So this is what we're doing right now in 2024. We're building a platform to be ready in 2024 for local organizations like yourselves to partner up with us and bring the local information into Sophia in a very easy way, and to be able to monitor what areas are chatted with most in a completely anonymized way. So AI and social work, that was Sophia, and now I'd like to come back to you, and I'd love to address any concerns and questions you have. But very first, I would like to briefly share my screen again. Give me a second, and show you what else AI can do in this sense. Like we just actually great that you just asked that before, who has used ChatGPT before and who has not. And I find in this very interesting intersection between human rights and tech. So my world is very much tech, but it's also very much people that are very far away from tech, and it can be quite scary. It's very new, and we haven't seen this before, and a lot of people haven't chatted to ChatGPT before. So what I'd like to quickly show you here is the way that you can use AI in your daily lives as a social worker to make your life easier, to make your work easier, to amplify your expertise, and make your daily routine tasks in an easier way. So if I had more time, I was going to show you one part of the social work that can help in mapping. You can write speeches if you want. You can write social media texts. You can ask for all kinds of information, and it's just all there. What I'd like to very briefly go into right now, though, is that we are social workers, we're human rights experts in our day job, but of course we're all people as well. We are wives and husbands. We are mothers and fathers. We have a life next to this job as well, and it's important that we look to ourselves as well as much as we do for our clients and the people that are trying to help, because you can only help people if you yourself are well and healthy and looked after. So an example I'd like to show right now is, let's ask, so you've had a really tough day at work. There's you're not yet there with the AI automation of everything that you can bring up more time. So you come home and you're tired and you have to cook for your whole family maybe, or just for yourself. So what you can do is, I'm always very polite with ChatGPT. You don't have to say please. Please help create a menu, let's say, a healthy menu plan for this next week. Let's say lunch, and let's just say dinner for this dinner, and please show in a table format with ingredients. So with a very short, it's an art. You need to learn how to prompt ChatGPT in a good way, but with very small little prompts like this, it can also help you, not just as a social worker, in your social work, in your daily job, freeing up time to spend more time with clients and the really meaningful work by, automating a lot of admin and a lot of repetitive work. But it can also help you in your personal life to freeing up more time there as well, to have interaction, more meaningful interactions. So you see, just there, it's created a menu plan for me from Monday to Sunday, what the meal is and what the main ingredients are. You can literally, you can add, if you want, how long it will take, to cook and everything like that. For me, it's always very important to talk about this as well, because what I describe our work to be is that we look into humanity's kind of darkest corners, and we try and bring light there. And to be able to do that, we need to be strong ourselves. So please, if you haven't used ChatGPT yet, just give it a little try. It doesn't matter what you ask. It's very interesting and fun to kind of find out. You can also have like a Socrates discussion if you want. If you say like, please reply like Socrates would, and you have these discussions with it as well. It's quite fascinating. I have 5 more minutes, and I'm already a little bit over time, but I just would like to kind of hear what your main concerns are about when you think about AI. So please, again, scan the QR code at the top there, and just type in what your main concerns are when you think about AI. It's like I said, a very new thing. A lot of people are not used to it, and I'd love to briefly address maybe 1 or 2 main concerns, and then I'll be very happy. If you have any other questions, please do reach out to me on LinkedIn, and or via email. And I'm very happy to address this because, like I said at the beginning, it's so important. Oh, let me just, I think I need to start the quiz. 1 second. Yeah, good. And it's so, we see AI for years now. We've seen AI. We have little chatbots on pretty much every company website. The private sector is using it massively. But the biggest impact AI can have and technology can have is exactly in our sector. We need AI. Well, we need it. Yes, I believe we need it. It can, the impact it can have is so massive by amplifying our expertise and augmenting our human decision making. It's not going to change it, it's going to augment it. It's going to free time for other things and make us more efficient and give us more time to spend with one-to-one real human connections. Share my screen again that everyone sees the answers. Seeing privacy is the most people. So how the word cloud works is the more people say the same thing, the bigger the word gets. I'm just gonna, because we have so little time, just gonna continue already pick out the biggest and see where we go from there. But privacy, of course, is a massive concern. It's this trade-off, right? So do you want to participate in this, in what the world is moving forward with and all these companies that are doing this, or do you want to kind of just keep completely your data all to yourself? And it's something that I struggle with personally with this decision. What do? I want to participate in everything, but I also don't want my data to be sold and this is just today. Actually, I'm in Lisbon at the Web Summit and heard Chelsea Manning speaking, the whistleblower, and she's a privacy expert for 20 years, and even she said she grapples with this issue. It's something that we have to take very, very seriously, and hopefully regulation will come in there as well. If you use it for your ChatGPT will take what you write to train a model. That is how it is. So don't put any sensitive information in there. There are ways that we can counteract this or make sure that it is still private. So for example, Sophia is now being transformed into fully AI, and we use what we call a tool that is called Ada, and trains Sophia just with the information we as the providers, not as the people chatting to Sophia, we provide. So we provide the information, the websites, the articles, everything that we want Sophia to learn from, we provide. So it's the same thing that ChatGPT is built on. So ChatGPT is built on large language models. That's how it learns. And so with Sophia, it's also based on large language models, but contained into our environment. So anything that we tell her to learn, she learns from. So in that way, there are ways that we can circumnavigate this privacy issue. It's another thing that I think is really, really important, of course, is the ethical use of AI. And this is, I'm very happy to talk to all of you today, is because we need to be part of this, because AI until now has been developed by mostly white men, which is wonderful. That's fine. But every person brings their biases to the world. That's just, it's normal. We're humans, right? So it's so important for all that the AI reflects the beauty and all the differentness of our humanity. And so especially as the Latino Coalition Against Domestic Violence, make sure that you are there, that you advocate for ethical AI, that you bring your voice to the table, that you use it, that you know what's going on, that we can bring and reflect the diversity of our humanity in the AI and not be left out as well. So that's, let me just stop sharing my screen again. So I'm really excited to have been here. And as we conclude, I'd like to invite you to envision a future where AI is not just a tool, but it's a partner in our quest to transform social work, a future where our expertise is amplified by technology. We prompt challenges and tailor care with precision, where every decision is informed and every action is impactful. Let us kind of step forward with a curiosity and courage, embracing AI not just as a concept, but as a catalyst in our journey, and in the so that we can amplify expertise and we can touch and reach and help millions of people by being where we are right now. Our team is very small. Sophia, our team is 5 people. We're in different countries, you know, in our living rooms and in our offices, and 24,000 people have chatted to Sophia until now from 143 countries. So what technology enables us is to really reach more people in need that desperately need our help as well. And that's something that I'm really excited about. I think together we can really embrace this horizon of possibilities in social work, but of course, be aware, you know, be aware of the limitations, be aware of your concerns are valid, make sure, but don't let that hinder you even trying it out. Be part of the dialogue, be part of this movement, that we can ensure that this movement goes towards an ethical, correct, in our view, human rights correct way. Thank you so much for having me here. It was such a pleasure to talk to you all. And I'm very happy to answer any questions you have via email or connect with me on LinkedIn.
Thank you so much, Rihanna. That was wonderful. I mean, what a beautiful collaboration and idea of how to reach out to so many people. So everyone, let's give a applause to her, do a reaction, send her some love.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time in the middle of the airport and everything that's happening. I really appreciate, and everybody appreciates, to learn and from you and what's happening at Spring Act. Thank you so much. So now I know there's not that much time for you. So everyone, let's jump in. We'll do some other things at the end, but let's jump into the Q&A for right now. And so please start writing your clear, precise questions. We have our 3 keynote speakers. We have Megan, Ernesto, and Rihanna. So yes, questions pop up. Let's give it a minute for them to write. And thank you, Rihanna, for posting the Sophia demo. That's great. The link is in the chat. All right, so everyone's putting on their thinking cap and kind of coming up with questions or trying to process. And it can be any questions to any of the keynote speakers. Okay, there's a question about Sophia. Let's see. Is Rihanna still on? I'm not sure if she's still on. But would Sophia be safe for us to recommend to a domestic violence survivor to use for questions or resources? So we'll keep that question. So next question, I think she had to go because of her circumstance at the airport. So if you have any other questions for Megan or Ernesto, please put it in the chat. Okay, there's a good question. I heard that Elon Musk said that jobs will disappear due to AI. What does this mean exactly? And what are your thoughts on this? Ernesto or Megan?
I can jump in. Ernesto and I have talked about this a little bit. I do not think that jobs, I think some jobs or some aspects of jobs may disappear, but we're not at this point in any of our humanity time on this earth will we move to a place where AI is completely doing certain jobs, specifically, I think, in the human service sector, because we have to interact with humans, right? So there are aspects, I think, of jobs that will be automated by AI, but I do not feel that it will take jobs away in the human service sector, because that's our work, right? Human connection is our capital, and you just do not get that yet with AI. So I think it will make it easier in some cases, but I don't think we as human service providers have anything to worry about there.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
pretty much agree, Megan. Like you said, we've talked about it. I think jobs will change. Jobs have changed already, and I think those with the skill set to understand AI at a little bit higher level than just the basic level will have opportunities that maybe others don't. But in general, I think, to quote someone that I listen, technology is undefeated. Like, jobs changed when we went from the horse and buggy to the car. Jobs changed when we went from the landline phone to the cell phone. Like, jobs all the time throughout history have changed, no matter what the technology, from, you know, bow and arrows to muskets or whatever, from flip phones to smartphones. Jobs are lost and changed and added over time. And so it's just part of, I think, our evolution as an industrialized kind of world. But I think it's to everyone's benefit. Number one, what Megan said, because of the work that we do, we are a little bit more protected, I believe, and the studies and research shows that. And I think it's still smart to adapt no matter what. There might be a new thing that comes along in the line, and it would be smart to adapt to that. At the end of the day, if nothing else, to see if we can translate that into improved services to those that we work with.
Thank you. Thank you so much for answering, and both of you giving some feedback to that question. Rihanna did jump on, but she's on audio only. So Rihanna, one of the questions was, let me see. I just want to make sure I can hear you, Rihanna.
Yes, I can hear you if you can hear me.
Yep, we got you. Okay, would Sophia be safe for us to recommend to a domestic violence survivor to use for questions or resources?
Yes, I'm unfortunately in the airport, so I hope it's not too loud. And yes, it would. It is safe to recommend to survivors. People are using her as we speak, using her, chatting to her. We make sure, myself and my deputy are human rights lawyers. So the most important thing to us is always privacy. Survivor first. Agency of the survivor is always our most priority. So we have all our data, all our servers are in Switzerland. Everything is completely encrypted. The way that Sophia leaves no digital trace is that she's there on your phone right now, and the only thing you need to do is chat to her. And when you're done, just delete the chat, so she's gone. That's the way that we ensure, the best way we can, that Sophia is safe to use.
Beautiful. There's another question. Does Sophia give guidance to parents who are trying to protect their children in domestic violence situations?
That's an excellent question. Thank you for asking that. That is actually quite an interesting aspect. My deputy, again, she's a children's rights lawyer in particular, and this is something that we've been wanting to expand on for a while now. We're a very small team, so it's been on our agenda, but we haven't got there yet. We want to make it available for actually children, but that's actually a very interesting aspect that we could embark on, is actually via the parents. So thank you very much for that question. Not yet. You can. Sophia helps not only survivors, but also friends of survivors. So neighbors or friends who don't know what to do when they realize someone is in a domestic violence relationship, in that sense, but not yet on children, but it is planned.
Thank you so much for answering the question. All right, there's a few more questions. Let's see this. For all speakers, will humans ever completely release control to AI? Will we as humans give it the abilities to manufacture, think, and write its own codes, perhaps become too powerful or complex for humans to understand?
I can jump in. I can't predict the future, but I don't think that we are anywhere close to that yet. I'm just thinking of even people that a lot of software engineers are using ChatGPT to write code, but there's errors in it. So it's not to a place yet where we can say with certainty that we can relinquish control, because we kind of need that quality control piece right now, right? We're not to a place where the AI can do the quality control yet. Maybe in the future, but I think that we do need to remember, and this is just my own personal take on this. Remember, like, yes, we can use it to assist us in flying the plane, but we're the pilot. So I think that I personally would not want to completely release control to AI, but I'm very much in this sector. I don't know what maybe Elon Musk or someone in the tech sector would
And I
say,
think-
but we still need that quality control right now.
And I think Megan has a little bit of insight into some of the technical piece. But my understanding is that I think AI is already writing code and doing some of that. So it's beginning to do that. I could be wrong, but I think that's happening. And for a long time, way before ChatGPT or we got to this past year, there's been this thing you might have heard of. It's called the singularity, or AGI, I think artificial general intelligence. And we've known that at some point, or at least it's speculated that at some point, artificial intelligence will equal or surpass human intelligence. That's what the singularity is called. And some people have predicted like 2024, 2039, 2052, whatever, all these years. But it's kind of an assumption amongst many, I think, that will happen. And it's been that assumption for 20, 30 years or whatever. And so that's why I think it's crucial for our particular sector and just in general that we actively engage in this, because the only way, I think, my opinion, that we will be able to manage that eventuality is by being proactive in how these systems are designed and deployed. But I think obviously nobody can predict it, but that's the projected path. And so we need to understand that, realize that, and try to work with that knowledge in mind to make things the best we can. A lot of it's out of our control at the global level, these decisions that are being made, but we can still have impact. And it's just a matter of being active in our sector in this area.
Very good. Rihanna, I'm not sure if you can see the questions, but if you can answer, I'll read the question again. Will humans ever completely release control to AI? Will we as humans give it the abilities to manufacture, think, or write its own codes? Perhaps become too powerful or complex for humans to understand?
Yes, I have a little other take on that. Sorry, it's very noisy in the background. It writes code already. I agree in that sense that it's certainly already there. It doesn't write perfect code, so it is important. So humans are still needed. But for me, this kind of dialogue or this kind of direction of questions that we usually guess is, will this or will this not? The thing is, the way I see it is that we've embarked on this age of AI, whether we like it or not, whether we will relinquish control to AI or not. What we need to make sure now is that we get on board with this and that we can influence it on the way there. So like I said before as well, that we make sure that, all of us, all our voices are included, especially women, especially people of color who have not yet had a big influence on this. Now it's more a matter of not whether we will relinquish control, will AI take our jobs, and all these questions, very, very, very pertinent question, absolutely, but more kind of like, what can I do to make sure that the AI that we have embarked on, this age that we have embarked on, will make a better society, or at least an equitable society as much as we can.
Thank you so much for giving your take on it. Good question. Let's see. There was one question also. I'm sorry, I was trying to scroll back and see if we missed anyone. This one was for Ernesto. What would you recommend about using ChatGPT for sales? I'm not sure if anyone is in social work and sales at the same time, but what's your take on that?
I mean, I certainly use it in that respect, and I think Megan too. I think both of us, or all of us, have kind of mentioned that as social workers, therapists, clinicians, there's certain specific use cases that we can imagine. But just as humans in the world, like Rihanna mentioned, like we're people, we're humans, and we have other interests, other things, and similarly to how in social work, AI can be a tool. It's a tool to me with, it can be a tool for parenting, my own children, or I guess adults now. But it can be a tool for recipes, like was brought up. It can be a tool for content creation. It could be a tool for maximizing sales or developing a business plan. So it's like I mentioned, and probably everyone else, it's almost limitless what it can be used for. It's just a matter of how do you ask the questions that you want the answer to, and then how do you vet that information for accuracy, for appropriateness, and finally, how do you translate that into real world applications? So yes, I think it can be used for sales and an infinite kind of number of any other things.
How powerful is that, right? Like whatever you have your interest in, you can plug it in and see. It's just like Google, but it's interesting because people use Google, which is a type of artificial intelligence, right? And yet ChatGPT takes it a step further, and some people are afraid. But I think today you've kind of taken off the veil of fear on artificial intelligence. So it's been amazing to hear from that. Are there any other questions? We do have a raffle for 3 Chromebooks, so please stay around. Don't log off yet. Let's see if there's any other questions.
I'd just like to jump onto what Nesta said as well, and sales questions in this format. It was also surprising, but it's a wonderful example of it can be used for everything. So I use it in my daily job for to help domestic violence, for coding, for all these kind of things. And then I spoke to my brother, who's an acupuncture therapist, and he was using it to plan his garden. He was asking it how to plan the garden and how to train it, and it trained him on this garden, creation tool. So it's really, anything you need it for, you can not, with a pinch of salt. Like, don't just believe everything it says. That's really, really important. That's something I should maybe mention as well, in the sense of, I come from a human rights background, therefore I'm very aware of all the limitations it has with, like I said, ethical concerns. We need regulations. We can go into all of that. That's really, really important. But until, I'm happy to have a discussion on that as well. But for now, just try and make a first step into AI. Like make a pledge by the end of the year. I want to use AI to plan one meal, for example, just one little thing, just that you can kind of get it into this discussion and into the sphere, and then talk about regulation, talk about the limitations, the ethical concerns and everything. But for me, it's just, my goal of today was just to get you excited about just taking the first step if needed.
Thank you very much, Rihanna. We have some other questions. Do AI tools have a feature for the alleged abuser, talks them through their options and encourages them to make other decisions, generational abuse or new education?
I mean, go ahead, Rihanna.
No, I was just going to say that it's horrifying to know what's in the web, but it's not AI. It's already there in the dark forums where exactly what you just said. It's horrific. It already exists, not just because of AI. So it's kind of how do we use technology the best way to counteract this in that sense? But yeah, please add, or Nesta, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, similar to what you said, that some of that stuff on the bad side is already out there. And my tool that I have, the Social Work Magic tool, is more social worker facing. It's not necessarily public facing. That's not the intention of it. But back to a concept that I think we've all talked about in some ways, it's not necessarily that there are features for an alleged abuser, but depending on how anyone, whether you're a social worker, an abuser, or whatever, what you ask the tool, or whether it's ChatGPT, Bard, whatever, it will give you that back. So if you are maybe an abuser who's trying to change the way you do things and change your perspective on things, if you pose the right question, it can give you some tools and options and encouragement to make better decisions. And so, but if you ask it bad things and, you know, how can I get away with this or whatever, it can potentially give you that too. Although I've seen in many cases, at least with ChatGPT, it will tell you, like, as a language model, I'm not able to give you this information as it is unethical or dangerous or whatever. So there are some parameters that have been built into these tools, but they're not perfect. So at any given time, something might slip through on the negative side, but just depending on how you prompt things, you'll get a response back. And I did want to mention just really quickly too, one of the features that just came out last week, I think you have to be a paid OpenAI member. It's like $20 a month. I think that's the case, but they have these things now that anybody can develop a thing called an assistant. And it's you don't have to know any code, any programming. I've built a few already. One of them is like a social work career coach. And it just asks you, like, what do you want to build? And you just type, I want to build a tool that will help me talk to my clients about options for violence prevention. And then it'll ask you, okay, what kind of voice do you want me to use? And it asks a few questions, and then it builds this tool. And it's basically, you know, a thing that you can access that it's kind of individual to you. And so whatever you want, you can build a recipe tool, you can build a car maintenance tool, whatever you want, it will build it. So for those of you who are adventurous, curious, I think maybe have $20 a month at least to try it. That's there now. So you can build your own thing pretty easily these days. And so I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you for sharing that.
I just wanted to add one thing to that we didn't really touch on, but kind of is also, I have seen some clients feel more confident to ask one of these bots that shame is reduced, right? Because it's not having to go to a person directly. So I've had some teens that are like struggling with certain things, or even young adult clients, and they feel more comfortable saying, like, tell me a little bit more about this, and then they get the information. So that's why there is that piece that maybe the shame reduction is there, but you have to know how to use it, right? To be able to discern, like, is this the correct information? So that's why that digital literacy piece is so important. Is yes, we want people to use it, but we also want them to make sure that they're using it appropriately. But that has been a case example where people feel more confident asking a chat bot or something versus having to do it face to face. So that could be a pro or a con as well.
Well, thank you so much to all three keynote speakers. If we can give a round of applause to them and put your reactions, send out some love. What great insight to artificial intelligence and how it can penetrate in our daily lives, but most of all through our work, through social work. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We now want to show a video about Latino Coalition and how it works with 22 different Spanish-speaking countries, but we just want to celebrate culture for a little bit. So enjoy the video.
Habla con la luna. Cuando me huele a guadilla, huele a pescado, vayamos a chicharrones, vega baja, sabe a melao y bailó a camarones. Puertorriqueño, Ponce me sabe a quenepas, Caguas me sabe a aguacate, Mayagüez sabe a mango y Jayuya a tomate. Cada lugar un sabor, cada pueblo un sentimiento. Vengo a cantarle a la tierra, vengo a decir lo que siento. Cada lugar un sabor, cada pueblo un sentimiento. Vengo a cantarle a la tierra, vengo a decir lo que siento.
Ese amor llega así, de esta manera. No tiene la culpa. Caballo le dan sabana, porque muy despreciado. Por eso no te perdono llorar. Ese amor llega así, de esta manera. No tiene la culpa. Amor de compra y venta, amor del pasado. Ven, 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 ven. Bamboleo, bamboleo, bamboleo. China, donde Ana. Y nos vamos para el norte, paisano. Este tonterito de mi tierra. Tonterito que salió de Saña, paisano. No, dale. Así como debe ser. Oiga. Tonterana de mi vida. Tonterana de mi amor. Tonterana de mi amor. China, chola, chiclayana. Prenda de mi corazón. China, chola, chiclayana. Prenda de mi corazón. Así. Dale. Pero qué buenas las cuerdas de Iván Burgos.
Una papita en tu corazón, en tus pensamientos. Quiero ser aquel que en ti despierte nuevos sentimientos. Una papita en tu corazón, en tus pensamientos. Quiero ser aquel que en ti despierte nuevos sentimientos. Y tiernamente hasta la muerte viviré para ti. ¡Oh! Mientras mi cuerpo siga con vida, quiero ser para ti. Y tiernamente
Thank you very much, Latino Coalition. There are 22 Spanish-speaking countries in the United States, a fact that enriches this great nation. We are very proud of our culture and language and happy to live in this beautiful and blessed country. And so now I'm going to hand this over to Kendra, who will handle our raffle for today.
Hello, everybody.
We're getting some feedback, Kendra, but hi, welcome.
Can everybody hear me?
And it sounds better now.
So
Perfect.
we will be raffling off some nice Dell Chromebooks. Okay, they are Chromebook Dell 3100. We have 3 that we'll be raffling off. We'll just be going with some numbers. So I will stop sharing my video and share my screen. Here. Okay, can everybody see the wheel there? Yes, okay. So you should have all received a raffle number in your email, but we have your names and the number that was assigned to you anyway. As you can see, they're all here, 1 through 227. So if you are here while we do the raffle, please let us know. We will make sure to get the Chromebooks to you. So I'll go ahead and jump right in. We'll go ahead and do the first spin. And we'll see who is the lucky winner for the first Chromebook. Got number 129. Do we have participant number 129, which should be Natalie Guerrero? Do we have Natalie Guerrero still in here? Natalie? No? We'll move on to the next one. So we'll see, that one has been removed. So Natalie looks like she's not here. We'll go to the next one. Number 139, which looks like it's Nakayla Thomas. Do we have Nakayla Thomas? No? All right, we'll go on. We do have 200 numbers, so go on to the next one. Hopefully number 163. Do we have number 163 here? That should be Tina Freyer. Tina Freyer. No? All right, well, we'll move on to the next. Got 224 more. So hopefully any one of you are the winner here. Number 205. We've got number 205, Miriam Messing. Miriam 205. Oh, yeah. Go to the next. Okay, on to the next number here. We've got 165. Number 165 here looks like it should be Marissa Castellanos. Marissa. Tampoco. Okay.
Let me help you guys out. If I'll just take those off your hand and I'll take them for
One of
you
these
just
has
in
to
the
be a
interest of
winner.
time if you'd like. I'm more than happy to do that.
So we've got number 215. 215, we've got Elizabeth Hausbeck. Elizabeth Hausbeck. Yay. We've got Elizabeth. Perfect. We've got Elizabeth a winner. So we've got you down, Elizabeth. So 1 Chromebook is gone. We've got 2 more. We will be in touch, Elizabeth, to get the Chromebook to you. So we're on to the next one here. Let's see, number 221. 221, we've got Nicole George. Is Nicole still here? Yeah. Nicole. Okay, go to the next. Doing next one. We have two more still. Numbers 40. Got number 40. Should be Amabilia Calderon. Number 40. Amabilia, are you there? Yeah. All right, we'll go to the next. And we've still got 219 left. We're at 143. We're at winner number 143. We got Rosie Castillo Ricard. Rosie Castillo.
Did you say two?
All right, on
19?
to the next. So we are going to number, let's see here, number 73. Got number 73 here, should be Kylie Bedell. Kylie, number 73. She in there? Is she in the chat somewhere? No. All right, we'll go to the next one. Got winner is number 177. Do we have number 177 in there? We've got Tatiana Alvarez. Tatiana, number 177. You in the chat there. You can unmute if you happen to be here. That way we can know you are here.
Hi,
177.
thank you. This is
We'll
Tatiana.
go to the next one.
Did you hear
We'll
me?
see which next.
Hello?
Kendra, we have
Oh,
Tatiana Alvarez.
Tatiana, was she in there?
Yep, she's here.
I think so, right?
Okay.
Congratulations, Tatiana.
Oh, perfect.
Thank
Okay, so
you.
we do have number 177. Tatiana was there. So she's got the second Chromebook there. Perfect. So now we're at number 38, which we still have the last Chromebook going. Number 38 looks like it's for John Mick. Yep, John Mick. There he is. Number 38. Perfect. So those are the three. So we've got Elizabeth, Tatiana, and John. We will get these Chromebooks to you. We should have all of your information, but we will be reaching out in case that we don't, and we'll be delivering them to you personally. Okay. Thank you so much for participating. See you next year.
Thank you very much, Kendra, for handling the raffle. It was great. Congratulations to all the winners. I just want to give a special shout out again to our keynote speakers, Miss Megan Mitchell, Mr. Ernesto Bejarano, and also Miss Rihanna Springs. What great wealth of information we learned today and their presentation. Also, special thanks to all of our sponsors, collaborators, volunteers, and participants. You will receive an evaluation form. Please complete it and send it back at your earliest convenience via email. Your feedback will help us improve the forum in coming years. So thank you very much. Don't forget to continue to follow us, Latino Coalition online. And congratulations, you guys survived this wonderful forum on sexual assault and domestic violence and the impact of artificial intelligence on social workers. Thank you. Have a great one.